Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In this video we are going to talk about the function, what is function and how it works. Before we start, so as I promise that we will have programming concept in Dart, so we are going to complete our series. So those who are following from our Flutter series, if they know what is function, they can skip this video, or whether they can listen and they might learn something. Let's go and see what is function and how it works. A function is a collection of statements grouped together to perform an operation. So I open the Dart page, as you can see in this URL. So we have a function, a main function, which we know every program has a main function, which is the starting point. And let's create our own function. That how we can create our own function. So let's come outside of the main function and create our own function by typing the name of the function. For example, I want to name my function get name. It is a function and round bracket, and the body of the function with curly bracket. Inside this bracket we can tell our function a task that it do for us. The very important things that why we are using functions. Functions are used because we are gonna separate our code in many parts that much complicated that we do not understand, and we should not rush or put all our code together inside the main function. So we can create a separate function regarding to the work we are gonna do. So I create a function get name. Inside the body I'm gonna say that you should print something like hello Ali and semicolon at the end. And for now, if I run it, it will not give us a result, because if we want to create a function we have to call it inside the main. I'm gonna call the get function, the get name function, inside my main and put a semicolon here like this. And now if I run this, now we can see that we have the hello Ali inside our main. We can also define another method to create a function, like for example get age is another function. By typing the round bracket, after this we can type equal and greater than. We can say that you should do something for me. For example, I want to say this age, get age, to print this is the age function, and semicolon at the end. And let's call it again inside the main get age and semicolon at the end of this also, and let's run it. Now we have this is the age function. It means that this kind of functions, if you want, you can use this kind by putting these signs, which is equal to and greater than, and the expression next to it. This function is more simplistic than this function, because it this function has a body, and inside the body we type something, and it has nothing. It just has an equal and greater than, and then any expression it will print something for us. And don't forget that every function has a return type. So what is return type? When we are typing void here, this is the return type of my function. If we don't type anything in here, it will take void by default. But according to our function, that if it returns something, we can define the type of our function, what type of data it will return. That's why we call it a return type in here. If my data return a string, so we can put a string in here. If my function returns an integer, we can put integer. For example, this function should return string. and now I'm gonna type return, and now we can return some string to this. I'm gonna remove this print, and now we can call our function somewhere to print this string for us. Now I called the function and let's run it. It will not print the Ali, hello Ali, because we are returning an string inside this function. We have to put the value of this function inside a variable and then we can print it. So let's define a variable type of a string because we have returned the string type of value and put the name here. For example, the name of this variable will be name, and initialize it with the function which we defined here. And now let's print this, print $name, name, and at the end a semicolon here, and let's run it. And now we have the hello Ali here. So this is the string type of function. I hope you know about the type. We have string type, integer type, and other types that we discussed on variable part. That if you don't know, you can visit on that video and you will know what type is. And now let's return an age. How we can return an age? I create another function. The type of this function is int, and the name of this function is agef or agefunc, and inside this function I can type return. What we can put here, an integer. For example, I'm gonna put 25 here. And how we can print this 25? So let's call the age function here, the same as we did with our string and get name function. In here we define a variable called age and our function here agefunc, and now we can print by typing $age and a semicolon at the end, and let's run it. Now we have our 25 in the console printed. So now how we can use this type of function to return a value? It is simple, and I'm gonna enter int here. It means that we are returning an integer. We in here we are not gonna type return. We are gonna type only 27 and it will return the integer value for us. So let's print this. Instead of this age, I call the getAge function, and let's print it. And now you can see that 27 is printed on the console. Why? Because we use getAge function in here. So guys, this is the functions and the two methods of defining a functions, and also the data type and return type of the functions. I hope you understand something from this video. We will continue our functions to the next video, and if you like this video, please thumbs up, and see you in the next one.